Hello and welcome to our new tutorial on how to integrate Payphone's payment box. In this video, I'll guide you through the process of integrating our payment box step by step. Before we begin, I recommend that you review the official documentation for this service. The documentation contains all the details you need for a successful integration, so make sure to read it carefully. All right, let's get started with the first steps of integration. To start integrating the payment box, we first need to configure users and create a new application. Begin by logging into your Payphone business platform with your admin credentials. Once inside, navigate to the administration section and click on Users. Here you'll see a list of all current users. For this integration, we need a developer user. If you don't have a developer user yet, click on Create New User. Fill in the required fields, including an email address and a password for future login. In the Role section, select Developer. Once you've completed the form, click Save. Now let's create a new application. To do this, go to the Payphone developer page and log in with the developer credentials you just created. Once inside, click the Add button in the navigation bar. You will be redirected to a form where you'll need to provide the necessary details. Complete the required fields, such as the name, a brief description of the application, select the category that the application belongs to, and choose the development platform that best matches the options shown. In the application type, select Web. When you select Web, two additional fields will appear. Web domain, this is the URL of your website. Response URL. This is the page where users will be redirected after completing their payment. Once you've filled in these fields, click Save. You'll now be redirected to the section of your new application. Here you can see the details and credentials. In this section, you will find two pre-configured environments, Test and Production. When accessing your application settings, you can select which environment you want to use. In the test environment, all transactions will be approved but won't connect to any banking processor. This means you can use valid Visa, MasterCard, Diners, or Discover cards without any actual charges. Or you can use dummy data that meets the field requirements. For testing purposes, make sure to set the environment as Test. You can switch between environments as often as needed. In the Credentials section, you'll find your token and store ID. Be sure to copy them, as we'll need them for the next integration steps. To copy the token, just click on the copy icon. To copy the store ID, click on the store list icon and copy the store ID from the list. The store ID represents a unique identifier for each store, which you will need to copy and paste for this integration. Once you've created and saved your first application for the payment box, let's implement it in our website. The first thing we need to do is paste the style sheet link and the JavaScript script in the head section of your web page. You also need to add a div section in your web page to render the payment box. Here's the HTML code you'll need to add. After that, we'll add a script that controls the transaction parameters within the body of the web page. In this example, we will include the basic parameters required to initialize the payment box. However, to have a better understanding of this service, we suggest you read all the available fields on the documentation page. The following parameters are detailed within this script. Token. This is the token you generated earlier on the developer page. Client transaction ID. A unique ID for each transaction sent by the commerce. This must change with each payment. Store ID, previously obtained on the Payphone developer page. Amount, the total amount for the payment. Taxes, the amount of tax applied to the transaction. Tip, the tip amount given by the customer. Monetary values must be expressed as integers. That means the dollar amount is multiplied by 100. For example, $1 would be 100, $1.50 would be 150, $10 would be 1,000, and so on. Basic amount configuration. If you want to charge $1 without tax, it will be as follows. The amount will be equal to 100. Amount without tax will also be 100. If you want to charge $1 with tax, amount equals 115. Amount with tax equals 100. And you need to add another parameter, tax, which in this case is 15. Remember, the amount field, the total to be charged, must be the sum of amount with tax and tax. Although the individual amounts are optional, at least one must be present to support the total amount. Once the parameters are configured, the payment box will display on your website as shown in the window. At this point, users will be able to enter the necessary information in the payment form. For testing purposes, transactions are not processed through a banking processor, so no real charge is made, and you can enter dummy data for testing. However, it's important to mention that once you're in the production environment, you must enter real data from the cardholder registered with the bank. All transactions in this environment will connect directly to the banking system, meaning the operations are real. After the user submits the payment form, you will receive two important parameters in your response URL, ID and client transaction ID. Make sure your response URL is correctly configured on the Payphone developer page. This URL is the page where the user will be redirected after completing the payment. Next, you'll need to use these parameters to confirm the payment. To do this, you'll make a post request to the following endpoint, including in the header section, the token you previously generated on your Payphone developer page, and including in the request body the ID and the client transaction ID. Here's an example of the confirmation call using Postman. In the request body, include the ID and the client transaction ID from the response URL. And in the authorization header, include the token you previously obtained from the Payphone developer page. Once the confirmation is successful, you will receive a JSON response with the transaction details. It's important to note that you have 5 minutes after the payment is generated to confirm the transaction. Otherwise, it will be reversed. This second API call allows both you and Payphone to confirm the transaction, and it's a required step for completing the process. Remember, you can integrate our service with any language and platform that supports REST API requests. In this response, you'll find details such as transaction status, whether the transaction was approved or rejected with the corresponding code. 3 means approved and 2 means canceled or rejected. Customer data, such as the document ID, email, and phone number entered in the payment form. Card details, including the brand, issuing bank, BIN, and last digits of the card. Amount, the total amount of the transaction. Transaction ID, a unique identifier for the payment. Transaction date, reference, and store name. This confirms that the payment was processed successfully. And that's it. You've successfully integrated Payphone's payment box. If you have any questions, feel free to consult our official documentation or contact our support team through our official channels, which you can find in the description of this video. Thank you for watching, and we hope to help you grow your business with Payphone.